How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into 14P Fantasy. Today, we are talking league winners, second half of the season. You know, some of these guys are obvious, and by obvious, I mean they're already good players. We know that, but the schedule coming up for them gets so much better. It's worth talking about as, you know, potential guys to trade for, or if you hold them, guys to not trade away, especially as we get into the playoffs here and everybody's jockeying for position and all that stuff. So let's just jump right into it. Number one on the list, it's actually Michael Carter. And I know what you're thinking. Well, he only has the one big game and, you know, you're just riding off a week 8 success. Kind of, yeah. But he's trending in the right way. You know, his 2 highest snap totals have come after the bye week. Ty Johnson and Tevin Coleman have all but vanished. And honestly, if we're looking at him, Michael Carter right now has seen 20 plus opportunities each of the last 2 games. He's trending in the right direction. He is the RB1 in New York. And while with Zach Wilson, that didn't mean a whole lot. Currently with Mike White, it means a ton. He's willing to check the ball down. Hopefully you're going to see Zach Wilson do some of the same here. And that's what you're banking on. And while his schedule isn't necessarily ideal, we've seen the pass catching work can raise his floor and even his ceiling. So Michael Carter right now lines up well to at least, at the very minimum, be a rock solid RB2 moving forward. And when Zach Wilson comes back, you know, maybe he's a back end RB2. But getting a guy like Michael Carter for the next couple of weeks at a minimum could get you some wins. And then come playoffs, he has that kind of game-breaking potential just as a talent to win you weeks on his own. We saw it this week, you know, 14 targets. I mean, he was just he was unbelievable. Nine catches, 77 yards on the ground. The lightest version of Alvin Kamara. I mean, that's really what you're looking at. So, Michael Carter, if you got him, great. If he's out there, I would throw out some offers. Maybe wait a week or 2 after the true breakout, you know, let some of the hype die down. But Michael Carter is a guy I want over Zach Moss, over Myles Gaskin, over, you know, James Conner, other guys in that back end RB2 conversation. And he has a lot more upside than all of them. Moving on. We have Elijah Mitchell, another running back coming off of back-to-back great weeks, you know, 18 plus carries each of the last 2 weeks. And since he's been healthy, the last 3 games, and, you know, there's a bye week in there, he's played 60% of the snaps or more. I think his minimum is 64% right now. He's the RB1. You always want the RB1 in San Francisco. We know that. That's not a new trend, a new statement even. He is the guy there, and he has been explosive. We saw it against Chicago specifically. He just ran all over them. The downside is he has not seen a single target either of the last 2 weeks. But here's the deal. The Niners want to run. They're similar to the Bears, and regardless of the score, they're going to run the ball. That's where Elijah Mitchell comes in. He doesn't get third down work. That's Hasty's role, maybe Jeff Wilson when he comes back. But Elijah Mitchell has the rushing on lock. And when you look at what he has coming up, you go week 13 on. So 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. That's when your seasons should be ending. So I don't give a shit about week 18. But week 13 through 17, he has 3 matchups against the top 10 easiest teams against the run and 0 matchups against the bottom 12, which means you're going to be comfortable throwing him out there no matter what. And he has the ability to rush for 100 yards and a touchdown each and every week. Elijah Mitchell is another guy. You know, I want him over Michael Carter, to be clear. I think he is a safer bet. He's not going to potentially deal with, you know, Zach Wilson coming back and taking away checkdowns and receiving work from Michael Carter, which is what he needs to thrive. Anything Elijah Mitchell gets in the pass game moving forward is gravy. But, you know, you can expect 15 to 20 carries, a shot at a touchdown each and every week for Elijah Mitchell. He is going to put you in a very good spot, especially with the schedule. It's as interesting as it comes. You know, the only guy really that has a better schedule than him moving forward is this guy, Saquon Barkley. Yeah, I know he's hurt and he keeps getting hurt. I don't care with Saquon Barkley. Not this year, man. He's coming back. They have a bye week coming up. He's going to get right. the rest of the season, he has the second easiest schedule of any running back in the NFL. You add in elite level talent, an offense that needs him, and, a probably top tier workload in the NFL. Saquon Barkley is he's going to be great. And honestly, the Saquon Barkley owner, if he hasn't already changed hands, is probably sick and tired of him. I own him in leagues, and the schedule is the only thing keeping me from trading him. That, having a good enough record to be able to hold him. But when you look at Barkley, he has one matchup against the defense outside of the top 12 easiest matchups for fantasy running backs the rest of the season. Week 12 on. So you're looking at 5 great matchups with elite talent. Saquon Barkley has the chance to go for 20-plus points in the majority of his matchups coming up. His only tough matchup is Dallas, and I think we all agree, as a runner, Dallas doesn't really scare you a whole lot, and Saquon has the pass work to really, really get through anything. And then to close out the playoffs, he has Philly and Chicago. Those are 2 smash matchups where Barkley could win you a week, just flat out. So there's going to be a lot of championship rosters, I think, with Saquon Barkley if they can survive week 15 in the playoffs this year. All right, moving to our wide receivers here. Number 1 on the list, CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott's coming back. We saw him thrive. They're do pretty well with Cooper Rush. And honestly, before I even get really into CeeDee, everything I'm about to say applies to Amari Cooper as well. So CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper are set up this year. Weeks 13 through 17. And again, I'm looking right around the playoffs. That's where I'm really finding those league winners because, again, got to produce in the playoffs to win leagues. He has Washington twice. He has the Giants, and he has Arizona. I want all of Dallas just to begin with. They are going to have a phenomenal stretch to close out the year. And CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz are all going to go off. It's going to be ridiculous. Dak Prescott included, obviously. CeeDee Lamb is the guy you want. And here's the thing. He didn't have the big game against Minnesota. It was Amari Cooper. I've seen CeeDee Lamb get traded for someone like Michael Pittman and Dallas Goedert. So those trades are out there. And honestly, Pittman, great buy candidate. He was a trade target for us early. Hopefully it jumped on that. But there are guys out there that you can give up to get CeeDee Lamb. So he's not untouchable just yet. And that's the important piece. Another guy that, is probably going to be the easiest player to trade for on this list is Rashod Bateman. He has 6+ targets 6 targets each of the 2 games he's played this year. He now has the bye week to get familiar with the offense even more so, to get even healthier. And let's be real. While Hollywood Brown has been incredible and was just, saw 14 targets last week, Rashod Bateman's probably going to be the more consistent receiver there just because of the area of the field he populates. And this is not the Baltimore teams of old. They do not have the running back stable unless you consider, Devonta Freeman, Le'Veon Bell, Latavius Murray when he comes back as a stable of running backs. They have guys, but they can't run as effectively as they have in the past. And we've seen that kind of manifest itself in Lamar's been passing more. He's a great passer. Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown have been great. Rashod Bateman has been, solid his first 2 weeks back. They have the 7th easiest remaining schedule for wide receivers, and the Ravens will take advantage of that. And Hollywood is going to be very, very relevant. He could be a league winner, but he doesn't come at the price Rashod Bateman does. Rashod Bateman, as he gets further into this year, I think it turns into the true number 1 that Baltimore's been looking for. And because of that, he's going to produce for fantasy. He's a guy you can get cheap right now and potentially have a wide receiver 2 come the playoffs this year. And to close us out, we have Diontae Johnson, the man that's probably going to end up leading the NFL in targets, if we're just being honest. The 2 games where Juju Smith-Schuster has not played a snap, he is averaging 13 targets a game, 26 targets in 2 weeks. I don't care what receiver you are. If you're seeing that kind of volume, you are immediately interesting for fantasy. And on top of it, he's been really damn good for about 2 years now, a year and a half. So Diontae Johnson has to be on your list of potential league winners, especially when you look at the schedule. That's the thing. A guy seeing 10 to 15 targets against Tennessee Kansas City, and Cleveland is a guy I want on my fantasy rosters. And people like Diontae Johnson, and he really should be considered up there, I think, at the top 10 wide receivers in fantasy just because of the volume, but he's never treated that way. So Diontae Johnson's a guy you could probably get for cheaper than CeeDee Lamb, and I think has a very similar ceiling, if not a greater one, and very much he has a higher weekly floor. So Diontae Johnson, if you can pry him away from the current owner, is a great add and is a guy you should have on your rosters heading into the playoffs. All right, everybody, that is all we have on league winners. If you have trade questions, start sits, waiver questions, I think it's going to publish after waivers, whatever. If you got any kind of fantasy question, drop it below. We'll answer as many as we can throughout the course of the week. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow me over on Twitter at Justin_14P. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.